What are your key concerns about enforcing anti-corruption laws in Spain right now, and how do they differ from 10 years ago?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for your invitation. It's a big pleasure for me to participate in this interview. Thank you again. But I think you have two questions in one question. The first question would be my opinion about my key concern about Spanish anti-corruption law. Well, I really think in Spain we have a good legislation against corruption, but the problem would be our procedural law. We have a criminal procedure very ancient. The Spanish procedural law on criminal matters was born in 1888. It's very ancient law to work with it. But the problem is not the material law. The problem is the procedural law, because it's so difficult to work with a very ancient law, and therefore, for this matter, for this question, all of Spanish court is absolutely full of work about all criminal procedural law. I think this is the problem. And the second one, the evolution during the last 10 years. I think the difference is the economic climate. As you know, 10 years ago, people say the Spanish miracle or the amazing Spanish economic. But well, today is absolutely different. We have a terrible economic climate, and the Spanish government has a lot of control against the corruption, and therefore the criminal investigation court have a lot of work, several cases during the last 10 years. I think today is a very big problem, the economic climate in Spain, and therefore we have a lot of cases, about in order to corruption in Spain.
Okay. Jose, emerging markets seems to be a hot topic at the moment. A lot of people are talking about it. If you could ask multinational companies that operate globally and in the emerging markets to do one thing, what would that be?
But I'm sorry, but I would like to say two things.
Okay.
Two things. The first one would be the transparency. Transparency is very important to work in another countries. For a companies, it's very important. But in my opinion, to be honest, the most important would be a depth knowledge of the national law. It's very important to have an important studies in national law, in the domestic law, because if you don't have this knowledge, you can have a lot of problems, terrible misunderstandings. During my professional life, I work in very difficult cases because this problem. Foreigners companies don't have a very good knowledge about Spanish law, and finally we have a very terrible problem with this question. But in short, I think two words. The case would be two words: transparency and obviously a deep knowledge about the domestic or national law.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for you.